Thank you for doing this, by the way, and thank you for your willingness to engage with the media. It's not always common, people in your position. On Syria still, can you just talk a little bit about the increasingly complicated relationship between the U.S. and Turkey, specifically with regard to Syria? What does the Russian involvement specifically with al-Bab do to the situation? Do you see it actually plausible that the U.S. will provide more support, or any support, frankly, to Turkey specifically with regards to al-Bab? Or do you see that becoming more of a Turkish and Russian effort there?
Yeah. So, we are engaged on an hourly basis with the Turks on counter-ISIL campaign in Syria. We have a liaison team that's resident in Ankara. They are engaging every single day on the full spectrum of coalition support to the campaign. You know that we've done everything from air support, surveillance. We've had forces on the ground helping and advising. So the full suite of coalition support is there, and it's something we talk about every day with the Turks. We have talked with them about al-Bab. They know that we are in that conversation with them, and there's a whole suite of things that we're talking about providing. I don't want to get into the details. That's a part of our private conversation with the Turks, but I don't see al-Bab as radically different than other places in Syria where we've actively worked with the Turks. Now, the Russians are there, and so that definitely is an important factor. But we have, over the past, I guess it's now almost 18 months, figured out how to work and keep ourselves safe with all the aircraft that are flying in that airspace. Obviously, with the coalition, that's very easy, and with the Russians, we've worked out procedures that help keep us safe. So those kinds of things are still working. They're still functioning, including on al-Bab. I don't think al-Bab signals some new change in something. I think that wherever there's ISIL, we want to counter that, and we are in support of that. So,
but the Turks have been pretty open about how they want to take al-Bab and then move northeast towards Manbij, to take Manbij, which was, in the U.S. view, has already been cleared of ISIS. So is that an impediment? Is there some, I know you don't want to talk about any specifics, but is that sort of a stopping point for the U.S.? The U.S. will not provide any help to the Turks for al-Bab unless they say they won't go on to Manbij? Or is there what, I guess, if the U.S. keeps saying they've been offering help to the Turks, and the Turks are having a tough fight in al-Bab, why are they not accepting it? And then why have they accepted help from the Russians?
Yeah, so again, I'm not going to get into the back and forth of the conversation. I will just tell you, we are all about hitting ISIL where there is ISIL. If there's not ISIL, that's not our mandate. So that is an important distinction. We have always made it in any kind of conversation we've been having with any ally on Syria. That continues. But I am not aware of any conditionality, any kind of quid pro quo. We are having those conversations, and there is support that's being provided. And I can't get into the details of the back and forth. And we don't want that conversation to be happening via the press, to be honest.
Support provided from the U.S. to the Turks, you mean?
There are, of course, there's support. Yes.
Specifically to al-Bab, though?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Idris?
Oh, sorry.
So what support has been provided? Because I think we've heard that there's been one sort of overflight, sort of show of force. Has that happened again? Is there ISR going on? I mean, what's happened in the past in al-Bab for Turkey?
So, again, we have these liaison teams who are working on a daily basis with the Turks. So obviously they're having conversations about al-Bab, about strategy and approach. We have provided some ISR support on al-Bab. We have, in areas north of there, as you know, provided ground forces and the whole suite of air support. So those are the kinds of things that we're talking about sort of on an hourly basis with the Turks.
Have you dropped munitions in al-Bab?
I am not aware that we have.